Hello YouTube. This is a TR3650 from my '02 Mustang GT, and I took it apart. Finally, saving myself $1,000 here. Okay, so I'm not gonna do a long video like the other ones, and this one's much less work to do. But this one I had to actually take it off the car, and the other one my buddy did it. Anyway, so to take that 5-speed transmission from the car, you gotta first take the exhaust, the catback exhaust. So actually, no, that's the mid pipe right here. So you got your catalytic converters. This goes to the engine right here. These bolts to the engine, I mean to the headers, are pretty hard to access, so get extensions like that one, you know, and a big breaker bar, long one like this. This is a 1/2 inch at the end, and also a swivel joint could help, like this one. And so you take those off from the headers, unhook those. Those are the O2 sensors. You take these bolts off that are, you know, they go to the end of your pipes, like the muffler part of your pipes. So you do that, and you do the draft shaft. So this part you see just pulls out of the transmission when you're done with the bottom part. That is just 4 bolts. So yeah, it's just 4 bolts connected to the differential in the rear. So you do that, you remove the starter from the bell housing. The starter was really hard to remove because you have to get into like tight little spots, and you have to use like a small ratchet. Like I think I used that one with some pretty weird combinations of sockets and stuff. So I did that. First step, I think I forgot. Yeah, the first step was actually to remove the shifter. You know, so you took the dash out, you removed the shifter. You unscrewed the bolts on top of your shifter plates, which is under your shifter. Once you remove the shifter, and you do that, and then you have access to. And then you make the transmission not as prone as getting stuck in the hole that's for the shifter. If you remove that plate, that shifter plate that I'm talking about, you will have enough space to pull the transmission out. But if you keep the shifter in there, you're not going to be able to do that. It's going to be hard to pull it out. And then to pull it out, it took a long time because I couldn't get those 2 bolts at the very top of the transmission to the engine that are mating to the engine at the very top. So I had to pay somebody $20 to come, and he had some very heavy extensions and tools and stuff. He's just a mobile mechanic, so I called this guy. I gave him $20. He took those 2 bolts off, and I'll pay him $20 more to put them back on, because that's really something I can't do. I don't want to buy another extension. You know, I just bought one just for this job, and I didn't really use it that much. Yeah, even for the header bolts, I didn't use that extension, the long one I was talking about. I used the breaker bar, and that was enough, with a very short socket at the end. So, okay, so what were the problems on this transmission? Okay, so when I was putting it in second gear, it just wouldn't stay in gear. So you shift it to second, and it doesn't stay in. So it goes back to neutral. And so you don't have second gear. So for like the past 6 or 7 months, I've been driving without second gear from first to third, and it was really a pain in the ass. So I decided to do this, plus I have to sell the car. So I want to sell it perfect, in perfect shape, with everything working, no exception. And so I'm doing this, and I didn't want to pay $1,000 to a transmission shop for them to do it for me. And I'll show you something that's going to make you approve of what I just said. I'll show you the damage that was caused by, you tend to shift a little bit hard when you're in a little elevated situation on the road, if I must say, and you're trying to go fast. You're trying to hold ice. And so you shift hard, and this is what I shifted hard in second. I slammed it into second from first, from red light, and second gear wouldn't work after that. So this is what's responsible right here. This is the shift fork. So everybody talks about it on the internet, but there was no video about it before. So I wanted to make this video, and so most people say that the shift fork is broken or cracked or bent, but my problem here that I'm having is those little stupid plastic pads that are at the tips, of the shift fork. These little stupid pads decided to break on me. So just because of a stupid couple cents, couple pennies, piece of plastic, I had to do $1,000 worth of work that I did myself on this transmission. So I'm not really happy about it. Plus, I bought this brand new one for $120 from eBay, and this is the one that's supposed to be in the 2004 model Mustang GT. So it's been updated, and as you can see, it is much thicker and wider than the original one. I'll show you in a bit if I can set this straight without it falling. Okay. Alright, so this is a comparison. I mean, as you can see, there's a huge difference. Huge difference. On this one, it's at the edge. The pad is going to be at the edge of it. On this one, they're in the middle, not at the edge. So yeah, that's a huge difference. The whole thing is wider, so I just know it's never going to break, ever. Good news is this one didn't break or did not bend, right? As far as I can tell, it did not. So it means I didn't abuse it that bad, but I still broke those pads. Actually, I broke both because let me show you the first one. The first one that was completely off. The whole side of it is just gone. The whole side of it, you see, compared to the other side. The other side is complete. Sorry, I'm taking this video with my phone. You see, one side is complete, the other one is completely shattered. So that explains the plastic that I found in the transmission. And the other pad, this one, is messed up too. As you can see, completely messed up. Well, not as bad as the other one, but still, enough so that it would make the transmission quit working for second gear, at least. So yeah, it was pretty hard to actually take the case apart because I followed the Tremec service manual that you can download on the website. So that part was easy, but then splitting the case was kind of hard because I didn't know what I was doing. It's never been that hard, even with the other transmission I did. So after about 10 hours of trying to figure it out and, wasting time and stuff and just chilling, like I do when I work on cars, I ended up, using a knife and splitting the case. I put the knife in between, on this surface here, in between the two parts of the case. I'll show you exactly the knife I used. I tried this, but the blade was too thin, so it was too weak. I tried this one and broke the tip. And then I tried this one, which is more like a fancy little table knife, and this one worked like wonders. So yeah, for transmission. And I tried to look this up, how to split a case, a transmission case, on the internet. Couldn't find nothing, except people saying, yeah, put a heat gun on it to it. Okay, so I split the case. I was supposed to do something that I didn't do, so it made it quite harder. See, I was supposed to take this bearing, keep it with the other parts of the case of the transmission, and so all of this that you see here would have stayed in the transmission, exactly like it is now. But what happened is, when I pulled the top case apart, all this came with it. So I was left with only this part of the case. So I had to pull those out of the upper case by first dislodging this from the shaft because it was a little bit stuck, and then just put the shafts back on this. I'm gonna remove all the pins that you know. I mean, this is a shift fork. I'm talking about those pins right here. I'm gonna take them off and install everything back like it is on the transmission, and then put the top case, top part, back on top of everything, and just close the transmission when I'm done. That's basically it. So yeah, I just wanted to show this real quick, that this is a much stronger part, even though I'm not sure I ever needed it. I'm pretty sure my transmission is bulletproof right now. I mean, it will be in very shortly. So I'm gonna put this back. It won't be a problem at all. Yeah, all these tools, it might seem a lot, but that's not a lot at all. If you had more, it would be even better. Oh yeah, to drop the transmission from the car. So I just undid all the bolts that were mating it from the transmission to the engine. Removed all the bolts. I had a jack under it. I had my friend watching that, the transmission doesn't drop on my head. And I just kind of chilled under the transmission and wiggled it around, then went behind it and pulled it really hard. Pulled the jack at the same time and made sure the jack was in the middle of the transmission, and it just it pulled out. Eventually, to put it back in, I'm going to use some grease, so it'll be easier. And I'll turn the rear part of the shaft so it can engage without me having to wiggle the transmission around and stuff. So I'm going to do that. And the last thing that I wanted to show was the state of the rings, the gears, the bearings. I mean, if you want to talk about bearing, let me show you this. I mean, yeah, let me show you this. I'm doing this with a couple fingers. I'm thinking this transmission is very, very good quality, aside from this shitty shift fork. I mean, look how it turns. The bearings are just excellent. This is nothing like the Chevy S10 transmission I pulled out and rebuilt. That was junk. That was literally junk. I'm almost glad this case was hard to split apart. I mean, it just tells me this thing is strong. Anyway, and I don't work for Ford or Tremec. Anyway, so I wanted to show the shape. I only have a minute left here. Show the shape of the gears and the synchros. They're I don't know if you can see it, but they're really good. I mean, they don't look abused like on the S10 transmission that I rebuilt. What was it? NV 3500. Yeah, those look really good. The gears look really good. So everything's all good. I thought that maybe because of my second gear problem, I was grinding a couple of times. Well, more like maybe 10 or 15 times, because sometimes I would try to put it in second just to see if it would work, by some kind of miracle, but it never did. Anyway, so I didn't get any shavings, really. I didn't damage anything, so I'm really happy about this. I'm going to put that shift fork back on, the new one that I got on eBay, and I'm going to close the transmission, put it back in the car, and start the car, see if it works. And I think, yeah, some stuff to know about this transmission. Check for the fluid. I think you go to the Tremec website and they tell you exactly what fluid how much fluid to put in there. It's gotta be some synthetic transmission fluid or something. I forgot. So I have to look it up real quick. Anyway, so this is it. Yeah, one more detail. When you remove the clutch cable before you take the transmission apart, before you take it out the car, that's pretty easy, straightforward, doing all that. Anyway, so I hope you enjoy and hope that makes you want to do it yourself. You should. I'm telling you, this is why I made this video. Alright.